story.
Huge news at the trade deadline. Washington making yet another regrettable decision in the not proud history of that organization. This time trading pass rusher and number 2 overall pick Chase Young to the 49ers for nothing.
Yeah.
And this further helping San Francisco cover for their quarterback's outright shittiness. And, Tony, this is just a pathetic look by all involved, isn't it?
It's disgusting. Trading a superstar like Chase Young for just a third-round pick? I have to ask, where's the Federal Trade Commission in all this?
Yep.
Aren't they supposed to stop trades that are unfair and unbalanced?
Yep.
This is yet another clear failure of government, and it just reeks that this all went down in Washington.
The swamp.
It's just more governmental corruption, and frankly, I, for one, am sick of it.
So eloquently said, Tony. And
Thank you.
will never see the Eagles making such a classless lowball move. Because when they make trades, it's always fair and equitable. We saw this last year, when they took the Titans' only good player, A.J. Brown, and gave them back, they gave them something. But it was totally fair.
Absolutely. Business laws protect against monopolies, but what about monopolies? It's unfair that the 49ers have almost every good pass rusher. Nick Bosa, Randy Gregory, that Armstrong guy, and now Chase Young. The government should be stopping this today.
Yup, and this is why we are urging you, our millions of listeners and viewers, write your local congressman and tell them you will not stand for this injustice. But when you send that letter, don't use the Postal Service, because as we established, they can't be trusted with letters and ballots too.
Yeah, you definitely can't trust them.
Yeah. Well, to another big story, the Raiders firing head coach Josh McDaniels in the middle of his second season. And Tony, a lot of critics here are saying that this was a bad hire from the get-go. But those people don't know what they're talking about, do they, Tony?
Yeah. When the Raiders hired Josh McDaniels, they actually weren't that far off. Just look at this list of NFL head coaches sorted in alphabetical order. As you can see, Josh McDaniels is right between Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel, Bills coach Sean McDermott,
winner,
and Super Bowl winning Rams coach Sean McVay.
Legend.
So right there, that shows the Raiders were not that far off when they made this selection.
Such terrific analysis, Tony. And now turning to this week, and obviously the big matchup, the Cowboys facing the Eagles in Philly. Now, we've got the line set at Eagles minus 47, but the so-called experts out there who know jack squat, well, they have it at Eagles minus 3. But that's because they're saying that the Cowboys had a strong showing last week against the Rams. But, Tony, come on. What is the one part of every game that matters most?
The second half.
Yep.
We've always said the Cowboys can't close out games, and last week they proved it yet again.
Yep.
Sure, the score at halftime was Cowboys 33, Rams 9, whatever. But in the second half, the Rams soundly beat the Cowboys 11-10.
Yep.
As they say, it's not how you start, but how you finish. And that's why the second half score matters much more than the final score.
Such spot-on analysis, Tony. And just staying on this week's matchup, we saw some of the most bizarre pregame comments ever recorded. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones was asked about his thoughts about the Eagles, and he said, quote, he didn't want to poke the bear. But then Dak Prescott came out and said, quote, you can poke it. If you see me and a bear in a fight, pour honey on me.
Weird.
And Tony, if you're a Cowboys fan, you have to be concerned by these comments, don't you?
Absolutely. Cowboys fans should be very concerned about Dak's judgment here. I mean, if you're gonna fight a bear, the last thing you want to do is pour honey on yourself.
Yup.
It's sticky, and bees will attack you. Frankly, this makes me question Dak's ability as a leader and a fighter. He's certainly not someone you can trust leading men into battle or into a forest full of bears.
Great points all around, Tony. And finally, just one quick baseball note. People out there are saying this Rangers-Diamondback series was, quote, bad for baseball. And it's the last matchup that the MLB could have possibly wanted. Tony, that is totally wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to look at it from a business perspective. Like, if Houston made the World Series, well, that's just a city. But if Texas makes the series, well, that's an entire state. All of Texas versus all of Arizona? I mean, that's like 100 million potential viewers right there.
Terrific business insight there, Tony. And well, I'd love to discuss that more, but we got to move on. I see our guest coming online, so let's bring him on the Fusco Satellite Network.